San Francisco was responsible for a new trend in new pop music. And the Jefferson Airplane was one of the groups that made that sound popular. Marty Ballin, Spencer Dryden, Jack Cassidy, Jorma Kaugen, and Paul Kantner. And of course, Grace Slick. Jefferson Airplane!
When people went to the Fillmore, they didn't go to see a band. They went to the Fillmore, and half the time the audience was twice as interesting as any band on stage.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
Older people worry. They see the way you're dressed. They hear your music. They don't understand it. Do parents have anything to worry about?
I think so.
Are the crown of creation, and you got no place to go. Yeah.
All right, friends, you have seen the heavy groups. Now you will see morning maniac music.
Acid, incense, and balloon. Saturday afternoon.
I noticed they didn't have an Altamont reunion.
And that's the other side of the line. Yeah, I've been reading now. And that's the other side of the line.
Marty did jump in the middle of it.
I'd like to point out, however, that Jack and Jorma played on long after they should have stopped playing.
You took comfort in being able to hold an instrument in your hand, you know, and keep playing.
Hey man, I'd like to mention that the Hells Angels just smashed Marty Ballin in the face and knocked him out for a bit.
Right. Well, let me tell you what's happening.
And
What's happening?
Look what's happening up the streets, got a revolution. We are volunteers of America, volunteers of America, volunteers of America, volunteers of America. You were a bird and you live very high. You're in the wind when the breeze came by. Instead of the wind, listen took you away. That's where I wanted to go today.
We may be one of the few bands in the entire history of rock and roll, all of whose members are still alive.
This is KSAN in San Francisco. Tom Donahue and Rachel and lots of other people tonight. Lots of friends until midnight. Freak and roll. That's what it is. Freak and roll.
My name is Tom Donahue, and I play phonograph records. Here's the Youngbloods, Darkness, Darkness. Well, folks, the Family Dog has got another big weekend of entertainment for you. The Family Dog on the Great Highway between Playland and the Cliff House, across the street from the Pacific Ocean.
Baby Gravy, of course, is part of the Hog Farm, and the Hog Farm has been working locally for the Marijuana Initiative, and tomorrow registrars will be out. If you'd like to do that, go to the Felon Stanyon entrance of Golden Gate Park at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I want to get to one other cut here that is in our vast collection of records. A cut from the new Jefferson Airplane LP. This is not in release as yet, but give the company 2-3 weeks or a month or so, and they'll have it out, and you'll be able to hear it at home.
Hello there, Peter. Oh, howdy. Mighty nice music you're making, Pete. Oh, I'm just warming up. Well, it's a funny thing, but people in this big town are beginning to like my kind of music, too.
The Rock Island Line, and it's a mighty good road. Well, if you want to ride, you got to ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station for the Rock Island Line. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Good night.
and my wife were standing upstairs. I heard a white man say, don't want no Negroes up there. Lord, he's a bourgeois man, ooh, living in a bourgeois town.
Well, if I was an apple hanging on a tree, every time I Cindy passed, she'd take a little bite of me. Guantanamera, 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 Guantanamera. Hey, everybody sing it. I had a hammer, I hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening.
Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season. Turn, turn, turn.
And a time to every purpose under heaven.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing.
We're waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on.
For 30 years, this man you see playing the banjo has been crisscrossing back and forth across our country, singing songs old and new, for all shapes and sizes of people, and getting them to sing with him. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Pete Seeger.
From the United States, we bring you the greatest female group, the Shirelles.
Not for nothing, everybody loves you.
Well, we were all friends, and we were fooling around one day, and we were just harmonizing. We decided that we wanted to write something of our own.
Well, I met him on a Sunday,
and I missed him on a Monday.
And Mickey says, well, I phoned him on a Tuesday,
and I dated him on Wednesday.
That was Beverly.
Do run, they run, Papa do run. They run, Papa do.
Ooh, that's how it started.
God.
This is dedicated to the one I love. While I'm far away from you, my baby, you said you're gonna meet me tonight, the night.
Mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this. Mama said I can't help myself, 'cause baby, it's you.
You were my first love, and you'll be my last love.
Tonight you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. Tonight the light of love is in your eyes. But will you love me tomorrow?
It definitely spoke for women, young women all over who were wondering if they should do it.
No one had ever sounded like Santana. they put Latin rhythms and percussion into a blues guitar band and opened rock and roll to the whole world. Santana was a bridge between cultures, and once they kicked the door open, it stayed open. But the group's greatest accomplishment was never to stay in one place. Rather than repeat the formula everyone loved, Carlos Santana kept pushing. He embraced jazz, funk, and what would come to be called world music. He was willing to play over his head to make new discoveries. He was humble enough to risk falling on his face in public, wise enough to get up again, and strong enough to reach new heights.
Got a black magic woman.
Santana never once played it safe, which is why after 30 years, the world is still listening.
But she's a black magic woman. She's trying to make a devil out of me.
Gene Vincent was the embodiment of the tough rockabilly rebel. If Elvis was the boy next door, Vincent was a juvenile delinquent. Kids copied his tough stance, his leather jacket and blue jeans, even the permanent limp from an old motorcycle crash. He was born in Virginia and served in the Navy before Bebopalula made him a star. When the 50s ended and the music business tried to sanitize rock with smooth teen idols, Vincent wouldn't clean up. He went to England, Australia, wherever there was an audience that wanted to hear real rock and roll.
A little juke joint on the outside of town where the cops pick 'em up and they lay 'em down.
He was in the car crash that killed Eddie Cochran, and though he was hurt bad, he didn't die. Gene Vincent lived all the way to the ripe old age of 36. His voice is living still.
Well, dance to the rock and roll. Now I gotta get
it. Fleetwood Mac has had more lives than a bag full of cats. The first version of the group came out of John Mayall's Blues Breakers and was an immediate hit in England. But the group's guitar players kept finding God in quitting music. The rhythm section of Mick Fleetwood and John McVie forged ahead through a series of frontmen.
You can go your own way.
But the only singer-songwriter who stuck was John's wife, Christine. Things got bad. By the mid-70s, they had to go to court to stop another Fleetwood Mac from using their name. Then in 1975, Fleetwood Mac met Buckingham Nicks and the skies opened. They made love and fortunes together. They lost love and fortunes together. And they wrote songs about it all. For millions of fans, they were a mirror. Fleetwood Mac has had 3 decades of great highs and terrible lows. And the trip's not over yet.
Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone.
An English kid playing the blues. I mean, it's just wrong. Doesn't fit. That's probably why, you know, it's unpopular in some respects.
By the time Eric Clapton released his first solo album in 1970, he was already one of the most celebrated guitarists in rock. Clapton was born in Ripley, England in 1945. By age 18, he'd established himself in the burgeoning English blues scene as guitarist for the Yardbirds. Soon Clapton was rewriting rock history in John Mayall's Blues Breakers, Cream, and Blind Faith. But for Clapton, the 60s were just a warm-up. His solo work underscored an additional strength, the power of his impassioned voice.
What do you do when you get lonely? No one's waiting for your sign. You've been running hot and much too long.
In his recordings throughout the 70s, Clapton used his music to make sense of personal anguish and addiction with the honesty he learned from the blues. Clapton never stopped searching for new inspiration. From reggae to country to R&B, his loyalty was not to a single style, but to emotional integrity.
Don't you know my name?
It's why Clapton has found new audiences in his every incarnation for close to 4 decades. In 1999, having faced drug addiction and alcoholism, Clapton used his experience to continue to influence new generations. He auctioned his collection of over 100 guitars to fund the Crossroads Recovery Center in Antigua. Eric Clapton has never stopped moving forward. Along his journey, he pointed out the roads that other musicians follow.
In the brand new Sidemen category, the following musicians were inducted to the Hall of Fame.
The stars may be on the album covers, but it's the great Sidemen who are the invisible essential glue that hold classic rock and roll performances together.
Take out the papers and the trash.
When King Curtis played on a record, you knew it. His storming, honking sax solos, especially on the Coasters hits like Yakety Yak, are party-hardy R&B classics.
Yakety Yak!
Don't go back.
Wouldn't it be nice if
Who has it Hal Blaine played drums for? By his own count, Blaine has kept the beat on over 35,000 recordings, including hits by the Beach Boys, the Supremes, and the Solo Beatles. The snarling guitar of Scotty Moore made Elvis classics like Heartbreak Hotel and Hound Dog rock. Moore was Elvis's partner, band leader, and early manager. Scotty Moore was one of the great architects of rock and roll guitar. James Jamerson was the secret ingredient in nearly every Motown record from the 60s. In the process, he revolutionized bass playing and laid the groundwork for the funk explosion. When you called Earl Palmer into your session, you knew you were getting the finest grooves in New Orleans. He powered the great hits of Little Richard, Lee Dorsey, and Fats Domino, and he hasn't slowed down since. These unsung heroes provided the backbone for hundreds of records. Even if the public never knew their names, they knew their sound. These are the musicians so many other musicians revere.
and ball tonight?
You know, over the years, we've shared with you many different experiences. And we've had a lot of fun and made a lot of friends. Laughed and cried, but it's all been about love. Experiences like this one.
Earth, Wind, and Fire propelled R&B into the future.
Ride in the sky, on a ship at the side. All your dreams will come true.
Crafting hits out of soaring horns and heavenly vocals and unstoppable rhythms, the group led by drummer and vocalist Maurice White found the common chord between the funky and the transcendent. Born in Memphis, Tennessee, White assembled Earth, Wind, and Fire in 1969, forging an all-star musical brotherhood. There was White's brother Verdine, whose supple bass lines kept the funk flowing. There was the sweet expressive falsetto of Philip Bailey, the jazzy saxophone of Don Myrick, and Al McKay's bluesy guitar. Earth, Wind, and Fire's music seemed without boundaries, and their huge following didn't need to impose any. The group moved from the African-flavored kalimba story to the rock and roll guitars of Shining Star.
Shining star, shine bright.
break hearts with a ballad like After the Love Is Gone, and conquer the disco with Boogie Wonderland. Earth, Wind and Fire made records that preached optimism in a dangerous world. They made music that started on the streets and went up to the sky.
Authority is supposedly grounded in wisdom, but I could see from a very early age that authority was only a system of control and that didn't have any inherent wisdom.
Pretty flash, huh?
You know, as a group, we've achieved what groups set out to achieve. You know, gold records, platinum records, awards, and everything. We're really in competition with ourselves. We have to better ourselves, not with anybody else, frankly.
There was a chemistry there that is the once-in-a-lifetime thing.
When we started off with kind of 3-chord tricks that went along at 100 miles an hour. The lyrics were unintelligible, and we played fast and furiously.
Once again, here's Elvis Costello.
Calling Mr. Oswald with the swastika tattoo. There is a vacancy waiting. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason to do this song here. Radio. 1, 2, 3.
Sometime around 1978, I was a pop star. I actually found it pretty horrifying. Some of the songs that I had cut with the Attractions were slightly meaner, as is more in keeping with the way they play. They're quite aggressive sounding band. I mean, I was lucky. I had easily the best group of that particular period of music.
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? She is right under the center. Oh, so cute.
Come on, who'd like to be a bass player?
Out of our way, nerdlinger.
my image. I don't want to go to Chelsea. Oliver's Army is here to stay. Oliver's Army are on their way. I'm giving you a long look every day, every day, every day, every day I write the book.
Well, I've written a lot of songs. The point of writing them is to get it out of my head, because it beats kicking the television in.
I don't want to hear it because I know what I know what I know what I've done.
We're saluting a couple of guys who are as exciting as anything that's ever come out of Hollywood.
Famous for their inspired interpretation of the soul music.
Two guys whose recordings have always seemed to be in the top 10.
Mr. Bill Medley, Mr. Bobby Hatfield.
By listening to records 8 hours a day and singing along to them at the age of 14 and 15 years old, that's how we were taught to sing. We were not trying to sound black.
We had no ambitions or even ideas that we were going to actually have a hit.
And then Love and Feeling, and boy, things just went. Feeling's the most played record in the history of American radio, so you can't get any bigger than that. You can call it soul, you can call it whatever you want. If you are emotionally cutting it, that's what it's all about. Without you, baby, what good am I? What good am I? Everything that we did came so natural and sudden that it's just real wonderful that now, years later, you can look back and people were touched, moved, inspired. It's terrific.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. My name is Prince. My name is Prince. My name is Prince. My name is Prince. I won't be your lover. I wanna turn you on, turn you on.
There are many kings.
People can say something about Prince,
Are you ready?
and it used to bother me. Once I changed my name, it had no effect on me. Once I did it, a lot of things started changing in my life.
There's a kiss. He's the only man that I've ever seen that lights a stage on fire, leaving you to burn within it in a frenzy of movement, lights, electric guitars, slides, pianos, dances, voices, splits.
Purple rain, purple rain.
He is the inspiration that generations will return to until the end of time. Ladies and gentlemen,
Traffic were known for different things, and Traffic was such an odd combination.
Dave and I hitched up to Birmingham to see the Spencer Davis group.
He was the young Ray Charles.
God, is that how good you gotta be?
I think he was maybe 15, 16, but amazingly talented. I left that band and formed Traffic.
All we really knew is that we jammed together, we could play together.
Yeah.
Just grew out of the madness of the moment.
The whole world was psychedelic at that time.
Traffic came when we were really experimenting.
There were just four guys that just locked themselves away to be creative.
You're feeling alright.
And Traffic did try to inject into the music
Blues, R&B, folk, Celtic, classical, jazz.
This is why Traffic has such a great eclectic shape.
It was really about music and the fact that we happened to be living in this place in the middle of nowhere.
There were some very strong vibrations in that place, and we're not quite sure of what nature, you know.
I think Jim's a natural wordsmith. He has a way with words.
40,000 men couldn't make me change my mind.
Why not 39,780 headmen?
What happened to you when you went to the Fillmore in San Francisco? It was groovy.
When we came to America, that was quite an experience.
Song for us was a vehicle for us to jam. We would actually go on stage when we first went to America and not actually know what we were going to play.
Some great flute playing. Chris Wood does fantastic flute.
The mercurial Chris Wood.
Yeah.
He has a great spirit. You know, if things were getting too nice or too cute, he would just know how to mess it up in a way that took you in another direction, you know.
John Barleycorn was 9.
I think John Barleycorn was probably our like John Wesley Harding album. It just came out of the air. It was really nice.
I think the Low Spark of High Boys was a very strong era.
We were more album band, and I'm quite proud of that fact.
I'm proudest of the fact that I was part of it. So I feel I'm far enough removed from Traffic to say it's a well-deserved honour.
Just unbelievably surprised how long I've been around. I guess it's a testament to just doing it all the time, and even when you didn't make money, just doing it because you loved it. My father had taught me how to play the 4-string bass ukulele. I didn't have a guitar, so I taught myself to sing the songs on that. I was singing like Don't Be Cruel when I was 10 years old and things like that. So about 15 years old, everybody said, oh yeah, you can sing, man, you gotta do it. You gotta go after it. I think I started writing about a year later, and by age 21, Ramblin' Gallon Man, I think we had a top 10 record in the country. It's pretty amazing. We had a run of 11 consecutive platinum albums. It all started with the Cobo shows, which was, of course, Live Bullet.
Hey, Detroit! Yeah!
Put the live album out. I think 6 months later, Night Moves came out, and then a couple months later, they were both platinum, and it was like a really overnight kind of thing. It was nice going from station wagons to jets, as it were, in a heartbeat. I mean, we got so much airplay for so long. I just got into a groove where, like, I'd write for 6 months, record for 6 months, tour for 9 months, take 3 months off and start it over again.
Here I am, on the road again. There I am, up on the stage.
It just became a way of life with us. It's great when you can do something you love and people really like it, and you just make people really happy doing it.
Well now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, Mr. George Harrison.
you would understand that if it was, $3,000 for 4 people, then it would just be $750 for
Do you think you might have been the most anxious of the 4 to get out? I get that impression from reading about it.
Maybe, yeah.
I wonder
it was
why.
well, because over the years, I had such a lot of songs mounting up that I really wanted to do, but I only got my quota of 1 or 2 tunes per album. And that way I would have had to have recorded about 100 Beatle albums just to get out the tunes I had in 1965. Friend Bobby Shankar was from Bangladesh. He was trying to do a benefit and he was trying to raise people's awareness, but he didn't know how to do it.
Now I'm asking all of you to help us save some lives.
John, he made me more aware of using the Beatle power to make more money, and that's what I did. I'm not really as serious as people think or have thought. They always thought that I was the serious one, but really that is kind of a mask to hide the madman inside of me, which is really like a Monty Python lunatic. I mean, just for me, I could sort of look at it as though I wasn't in it and just think, wow, look at all this lot. It's amazing. You see Dylan, Roy Orbison singing in the middle of your right shoulder. It just gives you goosebumps.
Honestly, when I'm standing George Harrison singing over my shoulder.
You pay the price with the spin of the wheel, with the roll of the dice. Yeah, you pay your fare, and if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
It was important to me, rather than pursuing another $1 million or another hit record, was to find out who am I, where have I come from, and where am I going.
Guy was psychedelic before anybody knew what psychedelic meant. He's stone cold blues, and he's a master showman.
My dream was to watch the Giants play the music like it's supposed to be played, which was Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Water, T-Bone Walker, whoever I could see there in Chicago, because I had got word that if you go there, you'd get a chance to see God knows who, because they would sooner or later come to Chicago.
I'm drinking TNT, I'm smoking dynamite. I hope some screwball start a fight.
We all got it from somebody, but the people we got it from didn't make a name for themselves like we did. My first television show was with Son House in 1969. We all migrated to Chicago, Houston, or LA or somewhere to record. But if you would go back and get our background, we all lived in those little one-room country shacks somewhere down there.
You know I'm your hoochie coochie man. Everybody knows that I'm here.
One of my great heroes, Buddy Guy. Put him on the stage with me. It's a whole chemical thing happens.
Well, I was in chess, and every time I would turn that amp up and play a lick like that, they would call me and say, look, nobody want to hear that noise. Just get out of here with that. When the word came to me that I had been inducted, a lot of the great people should have had that before I got it. I stole everything I got from those people. Every award that I received in their honor.
they do. They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place, the backstabbers.
The OJs are one of the best soul groups in the business. We do go out to steal the show.
Money, 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 money.
I think what we do is going out and giving a great show every time we go out.
Some people got to have it. Hey, hey, hey. Some people really need it. Listen to me, y'all. Don't ever leave. Lipstick traces.
In 1962, Tommy LaPluma and Nick DiCaro brought a tune to us called Lipstick Traces, and it was our first major national hit. That's when I knew I was in the ball game. What Eddie and I brought to Philadelphia to Gamble and Huff is the gospel background that we had. Gamble and Huff used lush strings and horns and big orchestration. You got this great bass line that's moving along and the drums are cooking. Then you got someone that comes along with this raspy gospel. I think that's what they started calling Philly soul. There's nothing like being able to hear a song that makes you jump up on your feet even if you can't dance. No, I used to say I want to retire. I don't think I'll ever quit.
When we started out, we were 17, 18 years old when we joined U2.
Fresh-faced young Irish boys who arrived kind of to take on the world. How outrageous that idea was that we could be a big band.
There'd never been a band that had made it out of Dublin. It was us against the world. It was an impossible thing to do.
We're calling U2. We're from Dublin. This song is Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
Even though we weren't a punk band, we came out of punk rock, but we had an idealism.
Group that's never had any problem saying how they feel. U2.
I fell in love with the idea of America. It's a protest movement, civil rights. America is an idea as well as a country.
All rock music is political, you know, just the freedom to express yourself.
We've always wanted to move on. We've always wanted to learn. To me, that's what rock and roll is.
And I think sometimes when we're playing live and you hear people screaming, that they're really screaming for their own lives and what they were going through when they heard those songs.
There's unfinished business for U2. We have stuff that we've got left to do. You know, we're not going away.
But I think it's the desire to make a new record. If you feel that those songs are valid, and then you kind of come out fighting.
We've sold a pile of records and people come to see us play, but I don't think we really believe it. Something in us still feels we've got to prove ourselves. There's a lot of people expect a lot of things from U2, and People will never get what they expect. We're just you two, and we speak, just as we are.
Not the same. We get to carry each other, carry each other.
Four very young men playing with our hearts that was having a blast.
I'm a true believer in fate. If you were to see where we come from.
We were just four innocent kids from Birmingham, England, playing music, you know.
We saw this ad in the music shop saying, Aussie Zig requires gig.
Aussie Zig.
The really stupid ad.
You fucking turned up. Look what happened.
When we wrote the very first song, it was sort of doomy, and it just came up with the title Black Sabbath.
Geezer was the main lyricist with Black Sabbath.
It was just a name, really. If it had been called White Monday, people probably wouldn't have listened to the lyrics or listen to the band. Black Sabbath, it gets your attention.
There ain't nobody on this planet that's come up with continuous great guitar riffs that will stand the realm of time as Mr. Tony Iommi.
Well, what do you do to relax?
Smoke marijuana.
Sign them all.
We used to rape and pillage everywhere we went. We were fucking nuts.
My sole objective when I go on stage is to get that crowd as crazy as I can possibly get them. And I will do anything to do that.
Oh yeah! Follow me now, and you will not regret.
We didn't know back then that we were going to be originators. We weren't even concerned about it at that time. I think we were more concerned with being able to get out and play.
They're all like brothers, so it's like a family, you know.
It's about as close as four heterosexual men can get.
They thought that I just woke up one morning and had the blues and started playing the trumpet. But it don't go like that, and you can't explain that to them. Now they know. I'm not an accident.
Jazz purists didn't want to hear that stuff. They want to hear Miles Davis going,
if I would wake up and I was thinking like I thought in 1960, I'd go back to sleep, you know, or cut my throat. Jazz is only a white man's word he gave to music that he couldn't play. You know, you learn new music know, you don't go back.
Yes, he learned a lot from Sly Stone and Jimi Hendrix, but he would always take all this music and take it to a level that we would have to listen to him.
Most of what we did was an improvisation. It was a jam. Miles had certain themes that he would bring in that would establish a tempo and a groove. Then he would just set a mood.
And a lot of the rock musicians were really also getting turned on to Miles. It was a great meeting of musical cultures.
I never saw him turn his back to the audience. I saw him face the band. I saw him direct the band.
He would always say, I don't want you to play what you know, play what you don't know.
I don't care what people think of me. I know what I've done and what I can do. I love what I do. And I love, playing for people and make them feel what I feel.
I've done other music after the Yardbirds, but anyway, somebody told me I should be proud tonight. But I'm not, because they kicked me out. They did. Damn.
The story of the first Jeff Beck group was, where do you go after the Yardbirds? I couldn't just sit around doing nothing. And first problem was having a lead singer. Oh God, I hate lead singers.
Over here, let me love you, baby. You're driving my poor heart crazy.
Rod Stewart, he looked ridiculous. He had a Buffon hairstyle, teased up here. It wasn't spiky, it was just all flat, like a kind of a hat. And I thought, well, he's so good, who cares what he looks like, I ain't no oil painting anyways.
Okay, Jam, here we go. I took a Spanish haberdashery, restoring 15th century tapestry. Oh, Mr. Nesbitt got the best of me. So I strapped on my boots and said so long.
This is completely solid.
Yeah, absolutely. These pickups are very powerful.
The strings seem very light. Is this to facilitate the bending?
Partly
of the
the
notes?
reason is I've got very weak flesh on my fingers.
Yeah.
And the bending that I do, it would probably slice it up like a piece of cheese.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, don't touch it.
I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point?
No, it can't be played. Never. I mean,
Can I look at it?
No.
Take no notice. I don't practice every day now. But I should practice more often because I've not even got a quarter of the way where I want to go.
Hi, folks. I'm Wanda Jackson. If you like love songs, well, we'd like to do one especially for all of y'all. It goes like this. Well, a hard-headed woman, a soft-hearted man, been a causing trouble ever since the world began. But don't you? Oh, yeah, ever since the world began. Woo, yeah. Well, a hard-headed woman is a thorn in the side of a man. It wasn't unusual at all for me to work a show and be on the bill with Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, all these greats. If I'm wrong, someone can correct me, but I think I was the first girl to do rock and roll. Some people like to rock, some people like to roll, but moving and a grooving's gonna satisfy my soul. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. Hot dog that made him mad. So he hugged me and he kissed me and he asked me not to do it again. So I boppity-bop the whole night long to the knocked-out music of a jukebox song.
I think people can tell when somebody is genuine. And if you look at Wanda's records, I mean, she started out as a country singer.
The real thing, where is my wedding ring?
And then moved over into rock and roll.
Now the clock is striking 1 and we ain't had no fun. Just throw your arms around me and the night has just begun. Now that's a little more like it. Now you're doing all right. And if you keep it up, baby, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Certainly Wanda took it to the pop charts of where it was liberating and she was celebrating all those things that a lot of people were repressing.
Rock you, baby, all night long. Rock you, baby, all night long. Take me in your arms and with love and rock you, baby, and don't be slow. My daddy told me, Wanda, if you have fun on stage, everybody else will. So I just had fun. When the band begins to rock and it's rocking to your blues, if you think you blow your top, well, put on your rocking shoes. And
She crossed a particular line at a certain moment. There's a very uneasy marriage because of country, as I would say, country music is always Sunday morning, and hardcore rockabilly is always wild Saturday night.
now he calls at 7, wants a date at 8. He's never on time, he's always late. He's a mean man. Rock and roll, it was my generation's music. I have all these wonderful memories and beautiful friends, you know, through the years. It's been a good life. I'll see you tomorrow night. See ya.
I'd give you right now the What's Happening group right here from Brooklyn, USA, Little Anthony and the Imperials. Shimmy, shimmy, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, go, go, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, go, go, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, bop. Left with right from back, bring them side by side. I think a picture
Anthony, tell us how the group first got together.
That was quite some time ago, about a year ago maybe. We got together, sing around lampposts, and the manager of the Chantels, he heard us. He sent us to the president of N Records, and we were made stars overnight.
Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart, caused by you. I'm just a traveling stranger on my way, and I'm looking for your love.
A little bit about the Chitlin Circuit.
Chitlin Circuit.
I don't think everyone understands that unless they're from the South.
The Chitlin Circuit was a place where you went and you worked real hard.
And cheap.
And cheap.
We decided to break up for 2 years.
Gotta find a way back to your heart, dear.
But the people want Little Anthony and the Imperials, and so they came back together. And this was the beginning of an era, probably the most exciting part of Little Anthony and the Imperials. We put the song out, and it was called Outside Looking In. That's a dynamite song.
On the outside looking in, I'll do anything you want me to. You loved me before, please love me again. I can't let you go back to. Please don't go, please don't go. Over you, out of my head, out of my head. Over you, out of my head. Day and night, day and night. Wrong or right, day and night.
Gentlemen, Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Attention! I've got an announcement to make. We come here to kick your ass.
We had the songs, we had the attitude, we had the fire.
How long has the band been together as Metallica?
Well, since we started.
But I think we're going to be hanging out for quite a while.
All right. Kill them all.
We have always had really big balls. And all these people that are just showing up to be tormented by Metallica for 3 hours.
We do what we want to do. If they consider that selling out, then whatever.
Do you all know Cliff Burton over here?
He was taken at such a young age.
I can't remember anything. Can't tell if this is true or dream.
It felt like I lost, an older brother. We had to keep going. We talked about it, and we wanted to keep the spirit of Cliff Burton alive and well in Metallica. And to stop Metallica would to stop that spirit. We were determined to kick people's ass. We did. We always had problems communicating with Jason. I really regret that. I am leaving the band.
You left the band! Metallica is suing Napster.
Metallica filed a lawsuit against Napster for encouraging people to steal and trade our music. I'm prepared for the worst.
And I told you I'm in a mood. And what are you trying to do?
I'm not trying to do
Where's your crown, King? Nothing.
We're just so much more of a band now. We're just so much tighter as a band and as friends.
My lifestyle determines my dance style. My lifestyle.
what we've been through the last couple of years, coming out on the other side of that.
The day that never comes.
I just don't think there's anything left to prove.
No, the sunshine never comes.
Every band dreams dreams. Some of them include being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's still surreal.
So close, no matter how far.
We're taking on life on life's terms.
Life is ours, we live it our way.
I feel a lot of kinship with these four guys right now.
But we're still here and we're still kicking ass.
And nothing else matters. We'll see you around soon.